There are creeks and bayous that cut through every community, every neighborhood to help with the runoff, help with flooding, manage flooding. But for anybody who grew up around wetlands, you know how life is attracted to the water in the creeks and rivers or whatever, which is funny because that's kind of the same way we view liquidity, right? So once the liquidity dries up and it becomes a desert, just like any natural life form, it's just attracted to the liquidity. It's attracted to that pool of water where, you know, everything grows. Plants grow, fish swim, insects have their larvae. That attracts other predators. Those predators leave the remnants of their prey, and they leave their whatever else that they would leave that would make plants grow. Organic matter, we'll call it that. We'll call it organic matter. They'll leave their organic matter, and it's just one of those things where, you know, it just happens like that. So I was out here just walking, thinking to myself about all of the different challenges that I'm facing right now, and that you might be facing as well. And I like to often hear from those who are well past these issues and elements, and they'll talk to you about how, you know, they struggle and they went through it, and all of the different things that they needed to do, whether it was meditation, their faith, their practice, their grit, their hunger, the fact that they're born hustlers, whatever it is that they claim. And it's not that I don't respect it. I do respect it. And I think that anybody who decides that they want to accomplish something in their life, who decides that they want to really create something for themselves or for their family, that's what it's like, right? Especially if no one has done it before you or provided this type of element before you. But when it comes to creating that lifestyle that you might want, or the lifestyle that you want to live, the first thing I think that we have to remember is that nobody else can create it for us. Nobody can hand it to us, right? And it's that old story that we hear about the sons and daughters of extremely wealthy people who grew up unhappy, and they could never get it together. They could never get out of the shadow of their parents. They could never get out of that, get from under the legacy, right? The legacy weighed them down. It wasn't that they didn't have a legacy and they lived in poverty. It's just that the legacy and living up to that legacy was so large that it just became too much for them to deal with, too much for them to handle. But we'll save our tears for them in just a minute. And I say it like that because, you know, when we're trying to dig ourselves out of a hole and we barely have enough strength and energy to do that, sometimes it might seem to us that it would be a good idea to focus and prioritize what we would need to prioritize in order to survive, right? Meaning, prioritizing and focusing on it's just weird stuff going on right here. I'll probably have to cut this out. But focusing and prioritizing on our fuel sources, on our resources, on our sources of creativity and our sources of energy that keep us in that flow. My first and foremost priority in my business world is my trading. It's my primary source that I would go to for my financial needs, financial growth, financial freedom, to be that conduit to grow out of a certain element of my life. I want to say to grow out of my I hate to say to my boyhood, because, you know, this is a long time since I've been a boy, but financially, I realized that I have been infantile in my approach to my finances. And I think a lot of people have. I think a lot of people go only so far when it comes to their financial approach or their financial philosophy, that they never decide to cross a certain barrier, and then they never decide to begin to approach. One second. I think we're gonna do this like this. I think I'm gonna. Sorry. I think I'm gonna put the mic inside my shirt instead of. All right, we'll do it like this. Fine. We'll do it live. Let's get it done. I was attempting to see if I could just kind of shelter the mic just a little bit more from the. Whoa, where are we now? Where are we? All right, back in action. Okay, where was I? Yes, when it comes to our finances, we only dig as deep as our 401k. We only dig as deep as our bank accounts. You know, we dig only so deep. And I found once I started getting into trading that there was a world so vast with in the financial markets. It was so vast that I was stunned, and I'm still kind of in awe of how meticulously the markets are tracked, and how meticulously every financial consideration has been documented and studied throughout history. And so that's why I say I feel infantile in it, because for every dollar that's transacted, there is a strategy, there is a methodology, there's a philosophy, there's a teaching, there's a group of teachers, there's a school of thought to pro or against a particular action or activity at a certain time. And then there are organizations and there are structures built in order to reinforce, stabilize, and destabilize certain aspects of the financial world. So, you know, for so long, before even looking at these markets, I was collecting my check and I was depositing my check and I was spending my money. Now, I realize that even that function is a small function that is regulated and calculated, and it's regulated and it's calculated, and it is purposeful, right? So my participation in that has its purpose. So now that I've gotten involved in trading and I'm really wanting to get serious, take my time, do it right, it's just become a very intense struggle, because there's a reason for the data, right? There's a reason for the data. Now, what does the data represent? Does the data represent facts? Does the data represent destinies? Or does it represent the difference between people who took a particular approach and others who didn't? If that makes sense, right? Does it mean that, does the data represent, so we would say, hey, when it comes to trading, there's a certain percentage of traders that are successful, right? And of those percentage of traders that are successful, there's this percentage of traders who are extremely successful. And I believe that number is actually changing, because before 2019, 2020, maybe in the last 5 years, we actually started to have better tracking of traders, right? Before the prop firms, there was really No one who was really saying, look, we have this many number of participants in the market starting at day one, meaning that they haven't been trading on the stock floor for 30 years, but they've just begun trading. This is exactly how they trade, and this is exactly how successful they are. This is what they're doing. This is what they aren't doing, and these are their results. And I find it to be extremely interesting that that's the world that we live in now, where now, even when it comes to this industry, we have so much more visibility than we've ever had before. And now we can utilize that visibility to even format what are the best strategies and what strategies are the most effective. And within those strategies, the people who are making money, how are they making money with those strategies, right? And I think that that's really cool.